ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे। So this text we are starting newly today, Shankara-Ashankara-Bhashya-Vimarshah. So I have already given you the links for this PDF, whatever I am sharing. And this is written by Bellamkonda Ramaraya Kavi. So many of you may not be aware of Bellamkonda Ramaraya Kavi. Ramaraya Kavi is a recent acharya, I would say, or a granthakara. He lived sometime in the late 19th century until the early 20th century. He was there up to, I think, 1915 or sometime like that. And he was born in a place near Narsaraopet in Andhra. And initially, in fact, he was a Vishishtadvaitin. So he was born in a family of Vishishtadvaitin. So they were following Ramanuja Siddhanta. But later on, he got exposed to Advaita Vedanta. I think some people say that he listened to or he studied Panchadashi of Vidyaranya Swami. And due to that, in fact, he changed his mind, in fact, and he became an Advaitin. So because of that, in fact, his criticism of Vishishtadvaita is very scathing, I would say. Okay. And in fact, he thinks that he got cheated or something like that. That's what I think, because whenever I have read his works, mostly, in fact, during my own Gurukula Vasam, when our Guruji Puja Swami Dayanandji was teaching Bhagavad Gita to us. So we used to have the Bhagavad Gita Bhashya classes every day. And I used to read Bellamkonda's Tika on the Bhagavad Gita Bhashya, which is very famous. In fact, that book was given to us in the Gurukulam, to all the brahmacharis who were studying then. This Bellamkonda's book, somebody donated it to us, I think. So I had that physical copy of the book during the Gurukula Vasam. So I used to actually prepare for the class even before I went to Swamiji's class. I used to read the Tika, or after the class sometimes I used to read the Tika. So Bellamkonda's Tika, I became very familiar, and his style of writing is very simple actually. His Sanskrit is not very complicated, and his logical arguments were very straightforward and very clear. In fact, his whole writing is one of clarity, I would say. So I was really very attracted to Ramaraya Kavi's works. And later on, actually, I was involved in editing some books and all that. So at that time, this particular Shankara-Ashankara-Bhashya-Vimarshah, I was actually involved in editing the translation of this. There is a Tamil translation of this. Actually, I don't know whether that is available in print still. But when it was initially done by one of Swamiji's students called Kamalambal Ammal. So Kamalambal, Srimati Kamalambal was a very long time student of Swamiji. and she had actually done adhyanam of this text with Shastrigal, okay, from Chennai. He was a very famous Shastri called Kalyana Sundara Shastri. So Kalyana Sundara Shastrigal conducted classes for Kamalambal on this and some other texts also. And when she wanted to actually write a Tamil translation based on her class notes, I was helping her with editing and whatever, entering it into the computer and all that. So that's how I got introduced to this particular text. And but afterwards, I haven't really touched this for a long time now. So recently, this Indic Academy, they conducted a one-day symposium on Bellamkonda Ramaraya Kavi and asked me to talk on any one of his works. So I chose one portion of this book to talk because I was already familiar with this work, and many other people were already talking on Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita and this work I'm quite familiar, and some other works also I have studied independently, which are all very interesting. So that's how this work I'm already associated with, and I recently gave a talk, and listening to that, then I got a request to start this class. So we have started now. Okay, so that that is a small history of why we are even having this class today. And Bellamkonda Ramaraya Kavi is a Hayagriva Upasaka. It is said that all his works, in fact, he lived only for 39 years, but wrote more than 140 works, out of which some only 40, 45 are published. Rest of the works, I don't know what happened, whether they are lost or just some manuscripts are lying somewhere, we don't know. But so he was a very prolific author, and he has written in many different topics also, not just Vedanta. But we are mostly interested in his Vedanta works. But he was a Hayagriva Upasaka, and Hayagriva himself has supposed to have become Pratyaksha to Bellamkonda Ramaraya Kavi, and he blessed him. That's how he wrote all these Vedanta works, it is said. So you can see even he is starting with Sri Hayagrivaya Namaha. Even I chanted a prayer to Hayagriva while we started this class, because this work I also feel is the blessings of Lord Hayagriva, which has come to us through Bellamkonda Ramaraya Kavi. The other Devata he has invoked in the beginning is of course Ganapati, but he has invoked Sri Vallabha Sameta Sri Mahaganadhipataye Namaha, like that, which also is very interesting to me, because in our Gurukulam temple, we have Vallabha Mahaganapati, Shardamba and Adi Shankara, then Narmadeshwara and Venugopala Swami. So Vallabha Mahaganapati is somebody to whom I do puja every day. So that way also I was pleasantly surprised to see the invocation of Vallabha Sameta Sri Mahaganadhipataye Namaha here. And the text name also is very interesting. Shri Shankara-Ashankara-Bhashya-Vimarshah. Vimarshaha means an analysis or a review, like that you can take. In fact, nowadays Vimarsanam is used even in Tamil, correct? Vimarshanam. Mostly in the context of movie reviews and all that, we talk about a Vimarshana. But Vimarshaha, you can take it as analysis or review. Review of what? Bhashya. Bhashya is a commentary on any particular text, but here the Bhashya we are referring to is the Brahmasutra Bhashya. In that again, whose Bhashya? Means Shankara and Ashankara. So here there is a very interesting word play, because Shankara, you can take it as Shankaracharya. So Shankaracharya's Bhashya and other than Shankaracharya's Bhashya, correct? He did not, mostly is actually negating Ramanuja in this work. Okay, so the whole book is dedicated to establishing why we should accept Shankaracharya's Bhashya and reject other Bhashyas, particularly Ramanuja's. But he did not put it as Shankara Ramanuja Bhashya Vimarshaha. but he put it as Shankara-Ashankara-Bhashya. I think that is deliberate because Shankaraha can also be taken as Sham Karoti iti Shankaraha, correct? Sham Mangalam Karoti, that which creates auspiciousness or gives auspiciousness and ultimately something good to you, that is Shankaraha. So even in that way, Shankara's Bhashyam alone will give you Mangalam and this ultimate good Shreyas to you. And other Bhashyas are really Ashankaraha, means they are Amangala, or they don't really give you the Shreyas which we seek. So that also is implied, I think, by the name itself. So that's why the name has been selected as Shankara-Ashankara-Bhashya-Vimarshah. And the author starts the work with a prayer to Brahman itself. Om Tat Sat Brahmane Namaha. So Om Tat Sat is a way to either start something, and even while ending also we say Om Tat Sat. So Om Tat Sat iti Nirdeshaha Brahmanas Trivida Smritaha, and all it comes in Gita also. Om Tat Sat Brahmane Namaha. Here Brahman means, again we can take it as Saguna Brahman itself, Jagat Karanam Brahma. Because Nirgunam Brahma we can only understand. We cannot pray to Nirgunam Brahma, I think. Nirgunam Brahma is only a Jnana Vishaya, not a Vishaya for worship. So here Brahmane means we have to take it as Jagat Karanam Brahma, as revealed in the Brahmasutra itself, Janmadhyasya Yataha, from whom this Srishti has come, by whom it is sustained and into whom it resolves back. That is given as the Lakshana, Brahma Lakshanam, in fact, even in the Brahmasutra. To that Brahman, my Namaskaraha, like this with a Mangalacharanam. The author starts the text. Then, if you see, he starts now saying, Athato Brahma Jignasa इत्यादि शारीरक मीमांसा शास्त्रस्य बुभुत्सुः मुमुक्षुभिः किं शंकर भाष्यम उपादेयम् उत रामानुज भाष्यम यद्वा तद उभयम अथवा नो भयम. So he starts with a question straight away. Okay, so athato brahma jignasa, that is how the Brahma Sutra starts. Okay, and the Brahma Sutra is called as either Uttara Mimamsa or Shariraka Mimamsa here. Shariraka Mimamsa means basically the analysis which the Brahma Sutra is doing, because Brahma Sutra also is an analytical text, or it is called Nyaya Prasthana. We talk about Prasthana Traya. In the Prasthana Traya, there is a Shruti Prasthana, which is Upanishad. Then Smriti Prasthana is generally Bhagavad Gita. And then the Nyaya Prasthana, we talk about Brahma Sutra, which is an analytical text. And there the analysis, Mimamsa itself can be translated as analysis. Basically, we analyze and arrive at the Tatparya, or what is the intention of the Shruti and Smritis. What are they really teaching us? What are they revealing to us? To arrive at that only we do the Mimamsa. And so the Mimamsa here is Shariraka. So Shariraka means we are analyzing into that which is there in the Sharira. Okay. Whatever is there in your Sharira or Deha, the Dehi, in fact. Okay. Dehi is talked about even in the Gita a lot. Like Dehi Nityam Avadhyoyam, Dehe Sarvasya Bharata, and all Bhagavan talks about it. So Dehinosmin Yatha Dehe. Like this, the Dehi or Shariri is the one which is obtaining in your body mind sense complex. What is the nature of that Dehi, the Atma? That's what we have to analyze and arrive at. So that is this Shastra, Shariraka Mimamsa. And this Mimamsa Shastra is in the form of Sutra. Even the Purva Mimamsa also is in the form of Sutra, where they analyze the Veda Purva Bhaga, the Vakyas of the Veda Purva Bhaga, but there it is Dharma Jignasa. They analyze and arrive at what is Dharma, what is to be done, how it should be done. All these things are arrived at in the Purva Mimamsa Sutra. Here, Uttara Mimamsa, it is about the Dehi or the Shariri. What is the nature of the Dehi? That's what is analyzed here. That's why it is called Shariraka Mimamsa. And those who are interested, okay, in studying this Shastra as a Mumukshu, Mumukshutvam is very important. Okay, Mumukshu Bihi, he puts here. This also is important. Why? Because you can study all these things to get PhD also. You can study it academically. That is what that is what most people do, in fact, nowadays. But we are not interested in that. I hope all the students who come here also, I take it as you are all mumukshus who are all interested in moksha, and moksha purushartha being very important only, you have even joined this class. Okay, for some of you, the timing also may be difficult. I don't know. It's night time in US or afternoon in Australia and all that. So people are joining from different places here. So anyway, mumukshus, what should they consider? Because the sutra itself, you cannot just study only the sutra. You require a commentary. That is how our literary tradition itself. Okay, because at the top of the pyramid is the sutra, and sutra means it is alpaksharam asandigdham saravat vishwato mukham, like that the lakshana is given. Means it has alpaksharam, it has very few syllables, not even words. It's up to the level of akshara. So as few syllables as possible you use, but you have to still convey whatever you are conveying, the subject matter, without any doubt. Asandigdham. And also you have to convey the entire subject matter, not some ekadesha, not some portion or part only. Okay, Saravat, that's why Vishwato Mukham. So like this, you have to convey the subject matter completely, but with very few syllables. Sometimes that's why even the sutras are not grammatical sentences. There may not be complete sentences. And typically in a sutra, they don't even repeat a word again. For example, in the Brahmasutra, the word Brahma appears only once in the first sutra, Athato Brahma Jignasa. Afterwards, wherever required, you have to supply this Brahma. That is called Anuvritti. So without knowing what is the Anuvritti, you will not even be able to make sense of a sutra as actually a Vakya. In fact, the Panini's Vyakarana Sutra is not even using regular language. Panini creates his own meta language and uses that meta language to describe the natural language. So that is even more interesting. So like this, the Sutra literature cannot be understood without there being a living tradition, because only a living tradition knows the Anuvritti, and a commentary on that also is necessary because of that. Otherwise, it is very difficult to learn. But the advantage of the sutra is once you have studied the commentaries, and in fact, there are commentaries on commentaries on commentaries like that. Okay. And sometimes the commentary itself is in prose or it is in the form of verses, correct? We have Vartikas. So a commentary itself can be in prose or in verse, and a verse commentary will again have a commentary on prose. Like this, you have Bhashya, Tika, Tippani, and Vartikas. Again, Vartika itself has a Tika, etc. So the literature is vast. In fact, one lifetime is not enough to study any of these darshanas, okay, our traditional knowledge systems. So much is there. So whatever we can, we have to keep studying anyway. So here, when you are interested as a mumukshu to study this Shariraka Mimamsa Shastra, now which commentary should you choose? Because there are more than one. But here, this author is primarily looking at Shankara-Bhashyam Upadeyam, means should we consider and accept Shankara's Bhashya, or Uta Ramanuja Bhashyam, or should we go along with Ramanuja's commentary, or we have to consider both, Yadva Tad Ubhayam, because sometimes some people may say, okay, Shankara has said certain things in certain manner, Ramanuja has said certain things, why can't we consider both? Why can't we take both? And we will do a mishmash of both somehow. Okay, the modern people are very much inclined to such a position, I think. So in the name of secularism and all that, and Sarva Dharma Samabhava, which itself is a very problematic thing, I think. So people are inclined to that. In fact, they even say Buddhism and Vedanta is same. Like this, people uh, talk about in all this manner. Okay, or they will say that all Vishishta Dvaita, Dvaita, Advaita, everything is correct. So you want to somehow reconcile and accept everything. So do you want to do like that, or you don't accept both? Na ubhayam. Okay. Why you can't accept both? Because they each of them is negating the other or finding fault with the other. So reject both. This also can be an argument. Now, okay, now having asked the question, now he starts giving the answer for that. So with reference to this what tatra, okay, Shankaraha, Shankara Sakshad iti vachanat, Shankara Avatara Shankara Bhashyam eva upadeyam iti Advaitinaha. So what do the Advaitins say? The Advaitins say that Shankaraha, Shankara Sakshat, he is Sakshat, Shankara's Avatara, Ishvara's Avatara. Okay, so he is a Shankara Avatara. And therefore what? We have to only accept Shankara's Bhashya, Shankara Bhashyam eva upadeyam. Like this, the Advaitins are saying. Then what? What do the Vishishtadvaitins say? They are saying Sajiyat Sri Ramanujam. Okay. Munivaratma, Ramanuja Munivaratma, Phanipatihi iti vachanat, Shesha Avatara Ramanuja Bhashyameva Upadeyamiti Vishishtadvaitinaha. So, Sri Ramanuja Munivara Atma. So, he is the Munivaraha. He is the greatest among Munis. And he is Phanipatihi. He is the Adishesha's avatara, they say. So the Vishishtadvaitins claim that Ramanuja is Adishesha's avatara. Phani means snake, correct? Phanipati is Sheshanaga. And therefore, there is a vachana like this. And Ramanuja being Adishesha's avatara, we have to accept only Ramanuja Bhashya. This is the Vishishtadvaitin. They are saying like this. Okay. Then what? Third position. Ubhayam, tad ubhayam. For this he is giving now. Ekatra avidyamananam visheshanam anyatra satvat tad ubhayam api upadeyam eva iti madhyasthaha. So there are neutral people. They don't want to go this way or that way. Means they are not going to arrive at any conclusion. In fact, this is a problem. So, because in truth, you cannot have different opinions and all that. truth means you have to arrive at the truth by vichara. Okay. So, in vichara, whatever is not correct, you have to understand it as not correct. There you cannot do any madhyastha or say that this is also correct, that is also correct. That will not work really. But people are there like that. So, and also they give a reason. What? Ekatra avidyamananam visheshanam anyatra sattvat. So, some vishesha is there. Speciality. Certain topics are explained in a certain manner in Ramanuja Bhashya. So, we have to take that. And certain things are better explained by Shankara. So, we have to take that. Then we will mix both and understand. So, both of them we have to accept then. Like this, some people can say. Then the others. He calls them as Navanagarikascha. The very latest trend, at least during his time, is what Paraspara Virodhat na Ubhayam api upadeyam iti Navanagarikascha vadanti. So the new people, modernists, Navanagarikaha, urban and modern people, what do they say? They both are actually opposing each other. They negate each other. So we'll give up both. Both of them you give up. Maybe you study the sutra directly yourself and try to understand whatever you understand. That is something you can take. So, now having explained these four quotes or four different opinions, now the author says, Atra Brumaha. So, with reference to this, now what do we say? Atma va are drashtavyaha, shrotavyaha, mantavyaha, nididhyasitavyaha iti Brahmatma sakshatkaraya shravanadini vihitani shrutya eva. So Shruti itself is mandating what? Hey, you have to see this Atma, you have to know this Atma. Atma va are drashtavyaha. Oh my dear. Of course, this is said by Yajnavalkya to Maitreyi in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So he is saying, Are Maitreyi, Atma va drashtavyaha. Atma is to be seen, to be understood clearly. How? By listening to the Shastra first, Shrotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasitavyaha. So this Shravana Vidhi is there here with reference to the Atma Jnanam. And by gaining this Jnanam, what is the phala? Brahmatma Sakshatkaraya. Means you understand this Atman is Brahman. There is no difference between one's own self and the being, the limitless conscious being who is revealed to us by the Shruti as the Jagat Karanam. The cause of this entire universe, Srishti, is non-separate from Pratyagatma or the self, inner self, the self whom we think is inhabiting a particular body, mind, sense complex. That self, that I, that Atma is non-separate from Brahman. That's what one has to understand clearly. Okay, that is the Sakshatkara here. Okay, so Brahmatma Sakshatkaraya Shravanadini Vihitani. This you have to listen to the Shastra, then reflect on that, get rid of all your doubts, analyze. But still there may be some hindrances due to habitual tendencies. You have to overcome that also. Okay, by repeatedly recollecting this jnanam. So like this, we have this Shravana Vidhi. Now, what is Shravanam there? Is it just listening to the Shastra or only doing Adhyayanam? Because even when you do Veda Adhyayanam, you also listen to you actually memorize even the Upanishads, correct? So if you do if you do Krishna Yajurveda Adhyayanam, you would have actually done Adhyayana of Taittiriya Upanishad. If you do Shukla Yajurveda, then Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. In fact, Brihadaranyaka also has Swaras. You can actually do Adhyayanam from a Shukla Yajurvedi, the entire Brihadaranyaka if you want. So this Adhyayana itself, during that time only you are hearing. Is it not enough? Is that not Shravanam? Means no. That's why he is explaining here. Tatra Shravanam Nama Vedantanam Advitiye Brahmani Tatparya Nirnaya Anukulaha Vyaparaha Natu Shravana Matram. So the author Bellamkonda is making very clear what is Shravana here is not just listening to the Veda Vakyas or Veda Mantras. That everybody does even during the regular Adhyayana. But you have to analyze and arrive at what is the Tatparya, what is the intention of the Shruti, what is it trying to reveal to you really. And you have to arrive at that Shruti is revealing that Advitiya Brahman alone. So the Tatparya of the Shruti is in oneness. It is revealing the oneness of this Atma and Brahman. The identity between this Atma and Brahman is the Tatparya of the Shruti of all the Vedantas. At least the end portion of the Veda, the entire Veda also we can say Ekavakyata is there. So that is what one has to arrive at Tatparya Nirnaya, and whatever helps you to arrive at this Tatparya, that is called Shravana. So here Tatparya Nirnaya Anukulaha Vyaparaha means basically you go to a guru and listen to the Shrotriya guru. It's not that you do Tatparya Nirnaya by reading some books and all that. It is always recommended that if you are a mumukshu, sa gurumeva abhigachet shrotriyam brahmanishtam, like this Mundaka Upanishad says very clearly. Many other Upanishads also talk about that. Or even Gita says tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha, like that. So one has to go to a guru to learn this. That is very important. And guru only will tell you during Shravanam what the Veda is revealing. In the vision of the Veda, what is this Atma, your Atma? And that's what you have to also see. During Shravanam, understand one thing. For a mumukshu, the Shravana Vyapara is not just collecting some facts, or you are not going there to know that there are 3 bodies, 5 koshas, etc. That is all secondary actually. It is not factual knowledge you are collecting. It's not important how many texts you have studied, what you have memorized. All those things will help anyway. If you have a good memory, it is good, because anyway you don't have to depend on anything. You don't have to carry books. You can memorize everything and keep it and just recollect it whenever you want. But it is not about all those things. Shravanam means you have to see yourself in the light of whatever the Shruti is revealing. And Shruti here is a Darpana for us. It is a mirror. Shastra Darpana we say. Shastra is a mirror, and it is showing myself to me, my reality to me. One has to see that. That is what is Shravanam. And to see that reality, I have to first understand what Shastra itself is revealing actually. That only a Shrotriya Guru can teach us properly. Only a Shrotriya Guru can tell us this is the Shastra Tatparya, this is what Shastra is telling about you, this is the vision of the Shastra. So you have to also see that vision. In fact, the Guru also has to see that vision. Only if the Guru sees that vision, Guru can also communicate it clearly, and then that communication also will be fructified once you also see in the same way your Guru is able to see it. Now that is the Shravana. So Shravana is very important for us. That is the Sakshat Karanam for Jnanam, and Jnanam is the Sakshat Karanam for Moksha, and you being a Mumukshu, that's what you want to achieve by doing Shravana. Okay, so this is the Shravanam we are talking about, where the Tatparya Nirnaya is the most important thing. Not just listening. That you do even during Adhyayana, that's what he is going to see. He is saying now. See, Anyatha, Swadhyayodhyetavyaha. इत्यनेनैव वेदान्तश्रवणपठनयोः विहितत्वेन पुनर्विधिवैयर्थ्यात्. So there is no point again saying Atma Vare Drashtavyah Shrotavyah. Because when you did, like I said already, when you did the Veda Dhyanam only, you actually heard all these things. You even memorized it. So that's not the idea. Here the thing is you have to do Tatparya Nirnaya, what the Shruti is actually revealing about me, and being a Mumukshu, I should be seeing myself in that light. Like even I look into a mirror and I see my face. Otherwise I cannot see. Similarly, I look into the Shruti Vakya or the Shruti Vakya which is actually coming from the Guru. I listen to that, and in that I see myself. You have to see yourself. That is the Shravana we are talking about, and it is not just listening to some mantras and all that, or the Upanishad itself. Further, nacha sadvitiyameva brahmeti vachyam ekameva advitiyam brahma iti shrutya kanthata eva uktatvat. So the other thing is, of course, the Dvaitins and Vishittadvaitins will come and say, how can you say that the Shruti is only revealing Advayam Brahma? Okay, why can't it be Sadvayam Brahma? Brahman is Sadvayam means no. Okay, because Shruti is very clear. Ekameva Advitiyam Sadeva Somya Idamagre Asit Ekameva Advitiyam Neha Nanasti Kinchana. So many places Yatra Dvaitam Iva Pashyati Dhyayati Iva Lelayati Iva. You can quote so many Shrutis. Okay, and so the Dvaita is Khandana is done, and Brahman is explicitly revealed as Nirgunam, Advaitam, and all that. Okay, so this is something very important for us to understand, that Shruti is only revealing Advayam Brahma. Of course, if you do the Mimamsa, means Mimamsa itself gives you certain principles to do the Tatparya Nirnayam, correct? Upakramopasamharau abhyasa purvata phalam arthavadopapatti cha lingam tatparya nirnaye. Like this, there is a shloka. Upakrama upasamharau. So how does the some prakarana starts in the Veda? How does it end? What is repeatedly said? And whatever is revealed, is it apurva? Is it really something unique which is only revealed by the Veda? Apurvata also is very important. Otherwise, Shruti is only repeating. Okay. So Anuvada, we are not interested. We are interested in Pramana Vakya. For that, whatever the Shruti is revealing should be something only revealed by the Shruti. So that Apurvata. Then whatever Shruti being a deliberate means of knowledge should also have Phalavat Artha Bodhakatvam, as we call it. It should be Phalavat. It should be useful to you, purposeful. So Phalam also should be clear. And then Arthavada, whether it is using some Arthavada means some figurative speech, stories, all that also we have to work out. What it is saying is just an Arthavada or it is a Pramana Vakya. And then what supporting logic does it use? Upapatti. Shruti itself uses in many places supporting logic also. So like this, we can actually do this Tatparya Nirnaya, and by that we know that Ekameva Advitiyam Brahmeti Shrutya Kanthata Eva Uktatvat. It is said very clearly by the Shruti that Brahman is Advayam only. Okay, so here further what Tatra Nirnite Arte Asambhavana Viparita Bhavanayoho Nivrittaye Manana Nididhyasanayoho Vidhanam. Okay, further why does the Shruti also mandate Mananam and Nididhyasanam? So here, so once you know that this Veda is revealing Brahman as Atma, still there is a initially what, how can it be true? There is an Asambhavana is there, correct? What asambhavana? I am all this small fellow. Everything is small with reference to me, correct? Small knowledge, small power, small body. Then Bhagavan, everything is all. You are everything small. Bhagavan is all knowledge, all powerful, all pervading. So how can there be this identity? So there is asambhavana is there. Even though you accept, okay, Shruti is saying this, but still I cannot accept this. Or like somebody like Ramanuja decided, my guru does not know how to read the Shruti, so I'll go somewhere else. That also is a possibility. Because even it is said that Ramanuja also first went to an Advaita guru, and then he decided that that guru does not know the Shastra, and then he went to somebody else. That is always a possibility. Okay. But so the asambhavana is there, means you have to overcome that. Yes, that is where mananam is important. In manana, we use again upavatti, Shruti Sammata Tarka, you can say. The logic which is in alignment with the Shruti, we use that. In fact, we use logic extensively to negate all other views. That's where logic is very useful. Logically, nobody can establish the reality of Dvaita. Dvaita may be perceived. Perception of Dvaita, nobody denies. Understand that. Or even the superficial differences between Ishvara and Jiva also nobody is denying. Jiva is Alpajnaha, Ishvara is Sarvajnaha, all these things we all know. Correct? But the identity is in spite of all these things only, because we say that even Pratyaksha does not establish the reality of Dvaita. It is only reporting to you Dvaita, but whether Dvaita is real or not, that is not under the scope of Pratyaksha itself as a pramana. So we have to understand that, because one of the main arguments of Dvaitins is that Shruti will be against Pratyaksha if you say that Dvaita is Mithya. So that also we show that for all these things, in fact, we use logic extensively. Therefore, the asambhavana part is taken care of, and then you get a certain clarity. So two things are there, doubts and vagueness. Both have to go away. Then you have clear knowledge. But even if you have clear knowledge, still due to habitual tendencies, you can take yourself as this individual. Correct? All the problems are because of the individuality only. As soon as you think you are an individual, all problems start. But the thing is, the very individuality which you take so seriously is not intrinsic to you. It is not there always. Correct? If you analyze that, your individuality in waking is something, in dream it can be different, in deep sleep it is not even there. But you keep on using. I am awake, I dream, I am asleep, or I slept well, etc. That means this I is not always associated with the same individuality. Your dream individuality may be different, waking individuality may be different, and even your idea about what kind of an individual you are also keeps changing throughout your life. Kaumaram, Yavanam, Jara, and all that we talk about. Okay, so like this, we have all these different things. Okay, so here we have to overcome this habitual identification as an individual. Again, it is again there from the time you are born, correct? Or even for many janmas, we say. So that one has to overcome. It takes some effort. It's not impossible. So this knowledge, whatever the clear knowledge you have gained from Shravana and Manana, you have to make it strong. Okay, any insight, unless you repeat it, it will not be available to you all the time. So it can be overpowered by some other habitual tendency. So that is why knowledge has to be repeated, insight has to be repeated till it becomes strong enough for you to overcome your habitual tendencies. So the manana and nididhyasana are mandated for this. Okay, the prameya asambhavana should go away. See, pramana asambhavana goes by Shravanam, we say. Because what does the pramana say? That becomes clear with Shravanam. But even though the pramana is revealing this to me, I am not ready to accept. You think that such a prameya or whatever is revealed by the pramana is not possible. Now that impossibility you overcome by mananam. But even after that, the viparita bhavana also you have to overcome. So all these things one has to overcome. For that, manana and nididhyasana also are mandated. Okay, such a tatparya nirnaya prakrita mimamsa shastra vashadeva bhavitavya. So then how do you come to this tatparya nirnaya? By whatever this mimamsa shastra, the uttara mimamsa shastra, with that only we have to achieve this. Okay, it is possible only through this, by studying this shastra, by analyzing and reading the Brahmasutra and the commentaries and all that, only the Tatparya Nirnaya can be done. So, Prakrita Mimamsha Shastra Vashadeva Bhavitavyaha Tatparya Nirnayaha. And here again, what is this Prakrita Mimamsa Shastra? Upanishad Kusuma Grathanartatvat Sutranam Tasya cha Shastrasya Artaha Bhashyam Vina Durvijñeha iti Tavad Upadeyameva Bhashyayoho Anyatarate. So, now Bellamkonda Ramaraya Kavi is saying that this sutra means what? They are sutra means basically a thread also, you can say, correct? So the sutras are all what? They are threading or connecting the Upanishad flowers, it seems. Okay, whatever Upanishad Vakyas, whatever is revealed by the different Upanishads, they are all held together by these sutras. They are all brought together, reconciled, and then it is easy to understand, correct? That is what is meant by Kusuma Grathanartatvat Sutranam. So this sutra, if you consider it as a thread, then it has to bring together all the different Upanishad Vakyas on each topic and then analyze and then arrive at what the final conclusion. Yes, this is what is being revealed by the different Upanishads under this topic, like that. And that sutra again being alpaksharam, etc., it is not easy to understand the sutras by themselves. Therefore, tasya cha shastrasya artaha bhashyam vina durvijñeyaha. Without a bhashya or a commentary, it is not easy to understand, or it is almost impossible. Therefore, what tavad upadeyameva bhashyayoha anyatara. Therefore, one of the bhashyas you have to accept. So first the author is saying that one of the bhashyas we have to accept. Okay, therefore what? Nacha dvayam api upadeyam iti vachyam. So you cannot say that give up both. That's not possible. One of the bhashyas we have to accept. Further, paraspara virodhena pramanikasya ekasya eva upadeyatvat. Also, we cannot accept both because, or we cannot accept both also. We should not give up both, or we cannot accept both. Why? Because they are negating each other, correct? They are opposed to each other. The Ramanuja Bhashya is totally opposed to what Shankara says. In fact, in almost every case, it is opposed. We will see that as we go forward. Therefore, Paraspara Virodha being there, only one of them can be taken as Pramanikaha, or that which reveals valid knowledge. One of them alone can be taken as that which is revealing something valid to us. Therefore, we have to accept only that and give up the other. But you cannot again argue saying what? Nacha ubhayam pramanikam eva iti vacham. So you cannot say no, both are valid for me. That is also not possible because they are negating each other, correct? Paraspara virodha being there, you cannot take it as both as pramanika or both are valid. So vastuni vikalpa anubhavattehe ekatarasya pramanikatve sati anyatarasya avashyam apramanikattvena bhavyatva. So he is explaining that with reference to the truth, okay, or any object, if you have to know, the knowledge has to be true to the object, correct? It is vastu tantra. Knowledge is always vastu tantra. You have to know an apple only as apple. You cannot say it is apple also, orange also, and all that. So jnana being vastu tantra, And when you are knowing a particular object, there you cannot have any vikalpa or different opinions or anything like that. Okay. So that is not possible. You have to take one. If two pramanas are revealing to you the same object in different manner, then you have to see which one is correct and take only that. So ekatarasya pramanikatve sati. So only one can be revealing the valid knowledge. That being the case, one of them you have to take. Anyatarasya avashyam apramanikattvena bhavyatva. The other one you have to consider it as it is not pramanika, apramanikam it will become. It is not revealing valid knowledge, it is invalid, like that you have to consider. Therefore what? Tarhi katarat pramanikam iti chet Ramanuja Bhashyameva pramanikam. So now the first Purvapakshi comes. So if this is the case, one of them we have to accept as pramanika, then the Purvapakshi starts by saying Ramanuja Bhashyameva pramanikam. So we have to take Ramanuja Bhashya as the one which is valid. Why? He gives an interesting reason. Vrittikara mata anuyayitva vrittikarasya cha prachinatvat iti Purvapakshaha. So the Purvapaksha is what? Ramanuja Bhashya is pramanika, it is valid. Why? Because his Bhashya is based on the Bodhayana Vritti. So the Vrittikara here is Bodhayana. So he follows whatever Bodhayana has written in his Vritti. So Vrittikara Mata Anuyayitvam means what? He is following that. And Vrittikarasya cha Prachinatvat. So one of the reasons given is what? Vrittikara Bodhayana is older than Shankara. So his view is the first view, original view. Therefore, we have to take that as the valid one. Shankara and all is later. We have to give up. Okay. So that is the Purvapakshi. Now what does the author say? No, ma evam. No, it's not in this manner. Why? Yadi vrittikara matam pramanikam syat, tarhi tad anuyayi Ramanuja bhashyam pramanikam bhaven. Nahi tadeva siddham. So he says only if Vrittikara mata is taken as pramanika, you can say that Ramanuja's also is valid, correct? Is pramanika because it is based on that. But even that itself is not established. Just by saying it is old, you cannot say that Vrittikara mata is pramanika. First you establish whatever Vrittikara is saying is proper, it is valid. Then if that is established, then we can accept Ramanuja's Bhashya as pramanika. Otherwise we cannot. So as of now, Vrittikara Mata itself is not established as valid. And why? And you gave one reason for why we should accept, which is Prachinatvam, correct? So that he is now saying, Nahi Prachinatvam Pramanikatva Prayojakam. So just by saying something is old, you cannot establish that it is correct or valid. Validity has got nothing to do with old or new. Okay. So in fact, he gives many reasons or many cites many precedents. What is that? Prachinam api vrittikara matam navinena Mahabhashyakara Patanjali matena kim na apramanikam kritam. So he is now going to Vyakarana Shastra. So in Vyakarana, we have a sutra which is Panini's. Then we have a Vritti. We have a Vartika also there, Vararuchi. Okay, Vartika is there. And then we also have Patanjali's Mahabhashya. Okay, so all these three things are there, correct? In fact, during our sutra classes, we used to chant, correct? Vakyakaram vararuchim bhashyakaram patanjalim paninim sutrakarancha pranatosmi munitrayam. Like this, we used to have a prayer also. So all three we remember. In this, the Vartikakara is Prachina compared to Patanjali. But still, if there is a difference between the Vartikakara and Patanjali Bhashya, we go with the Bhashya. In fact, if there is a difference between the Sutrakara Panini and Vartikakara Vararuchi, we go with the Vartikakara. So that is how we do, in fact. That is how we consider. That is the precedence in Vyakarana Shastra, at least. So there, Prachinatvam has no meaning. Even though the Bhashya is Navina, is later, it is newer, we go along with the Bhashya. Okay, because Bhashya makes the Vartika Apramanika, wherever there is a disagreement. Similarly, Prachinam api Kapilam Sankhya-matam kim Navina Vyasa-matena na baditham. So again, the Kapila Maharishi has written the sutras. There is a Sankhya sutras are there. Then there is a Sankhya Karika also even there. But the Sankhya Mata is actually negated by Vyasa. Even in the Brahmasutra, the second chapter is about all these competing views and then negating them. So Vyasa negates Kapila's views, saying that Pradhana alone is the Jagat Karanam and all that. That is the Sankhya's view. And Sankhya also is Dvaitin because they talk about Pradhana being real, Purusha being again real. But there are many Purushas like that. They have their own certain views. So all those things are negated by Vyasa, and Vyasa came after Kapila. So even there, Vyasa Sutra itself is actually negating older views. So just something being old does not cut the whatever the ice here. And again, even from Kavya is giving now. Kim Megha Sandeshadi Kavyanam Prachinani api Natha Vyakyanadhini Navinaihi api Mallinatha Vyakyanadibhi na Parakritani. Again he asks, so even for in the Kavya world, we take Mallinatha's commentaries as authentic for Kalidasa's work like Megha Sandesha, even though there are older commentaries written by Natha. But Natha's Vyakhyana we do not accept. Mallinatha's only we accept. Therefore, what? Kim Prachinamapi Purvapaksham Navina Uttarapakshaha na Varayati. Oh, in general he now says, even though the Purvapaksha may be older, does not the Uttarapaksha or the Siddhanta negate it? The Siddhanta being newer. In fact, he even says something interesting. He says, Kincha tad aditve nutanam sarvam ayatyam cha puratanam iti nyayena vrittikaropi swakale navina eva Shankaropi idanim prachina eva tasmad Brahma pramadadi dushita pum visheshatvat vrittikaraha anupadeya vakyaha eva. So here he is saying that there is a general rule what tad aditve nutanam means what when at the beginning even Vrittikara's whatever he wrote book was new, correct? Whatever commentary he wrote is new in his time. Then later on Shankara came. Shankara was new in his time, but now Shankara is also older, correct? Later on everything becomes older. Initially everything is new. Later on they all become old in time. So using this, Vrittikara in his time was new. Shankara in his time was new. Now both of them are actually old for us. Therefore, what? The Vrittikara Mata we cannot accept just because it is old. In fact, Vrittikara has written a Vritti out of his own Kapola, Kalpita only, out of his own intellect. And any individual's intellect is beset with certain defects. He says, Brahma Pramadadi Dushita Pum Visheshatvat, he says. So whatever the Vrittikara has written is his Mata. It is not Apaurishaya like Shruti, which we consider as a Pramana. It is Paurishaya only, and it can be with defects like Brahma means some kind of a delusion can be there, or there can be some carelessness, pramada. Like these different doshas are given normally. So all these doshas are possible for the Vrittikara Mata. Therefore, Anupadeya Vakyaha eva. So whatever the Vrittikara is given or his Vakyas are all, we cannot accept it just because it is old. Okay, so now we will continue the rest in the next class. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ವಿಜಿ.